Welcome to the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcast, please follow, hit the like button, or any subscribes. It really helps us with the algorithms. Santa Cruz Coffee Break is produced by the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum. All opinions are those of the speakers. We invite you to join us on the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at SCGCPF for more fun. Now, let's get on with this installment of Santa Cruz Coffee Break.
We'd like to welcome everybody to the 85th podcast of the Santa Cruz Guitar Players. And today, as a returning guest, we have Emmy-winning television producer and guitar player, Brandon Adams. And I'm still shocked that he takes my calls. So welcome in, Brandon.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, Tad?
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Eventually, I think the Cruz followers will get sick and tired of my face.
No, I don't think so. I think we got some pretty exciting stuff to talk about as Brandon moves into season 3 of Life of a Musician. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who we can see?
Yeah, it's this season 3 has been wow. It's hard to sum it up because we're still shooting. We've got about 3 episodes left we have to shoot. But this year we took it on the road more. So we went to Merle Fest and sit there for a couple of days, and we did Roy Bookbinder. And Roy's episode was like walking through time. He's just a treasure trove of just history from learning to play some blues from Robert Johnson's grandson to opening up for Ray Charles. And we didn't play a lot. All the episodes dictate themselves. He was just bringing so much good information. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let Roy talk. And then James Nash we shot there, and you guys are familiar with James and the Waybacks. And that episode is kind of insane because we talked very little, and I think we did like a 7-minute rendition of While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those things where we played it and we were feeling it, and then when it got to the point where I couldn't think of any different notes to put in, I'm like, okay, we got to wind this up. Guess I think I've used all the notes I know now. And Bluegrass Powerhouse duet, Darren and Brooke Aldridge. So we've shot those are the ones we've shot so far, and then we've shot with one of my personal heroes, and probably just a tremendous amount of people's personal heroes, Vince Gill. And we shot Vince's episode at Joe Glazer's shop there in Nashville. And Joe's a trip, man. I love Joe. And Joe was like, yeah, she'd hear, that'd be great, but we're not going to stop working. If you can find a spot, shoot there. Vince will, you and Vince can shoot there, but it's a business. We got a job to do. And I was like, that's exactly what I want. There's no 2 episodes are alike. No 2 episodes end up the same way because it's all live. So, one episode you might just, man, there's a ton of talking, but it's from a guy who spans a 50-year career to, somebody who's you just vibe with so well that you play, and there's Billy Litz is also, we shot an episode with Billy Litz, and wow, that just came out. It just came out so great. And we shot him in this 100-year-old, giant Episcopalian church, it was insane. Like I said, every episode has its own character and its own story.
I think that's what really keeps it so unique, is that it really is in the moment. You really, there's not a from 7 minutes to 10 minutes, this is what we're going to have the musical segment, and from 11 to 14, then we'll have talking, and then maybe we'll have another music segment, and all that kind of direction is, I find boring. I want to ask, after Billy, uh, when did you see him? Did you see him post hurricane?
Was pre-hurricane, and wow. I Well, one, like when it hit, because I'm in Virginia. I'm maybe 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from where Billy was at in Asheville, and it wasn't that bad right where I am. But I didn't realize the amount. I had friends who were coming back from the IBMA awards in Raleigh, and they were texting me pictures of entire roads on 40. They're gone. I mean, they were
Yeah,
just
yeah,
gone. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. So I waited a day or two because I figured, heck, they got a lot more important things to deal with than talk to me. I called Billy, and he was on the road. I believe he was on his way to Maryland, and luckily, everything came out all right. The family's okay, the wife's okay. But we were talking. And he said, "Man, there are entire towns that are gone. Just
yeah. I was speaking with a friend out there, and he said, and this is why I asked after Billy. He when we did a podcast with him, he talked so much about liking to walk in the forest and stuff like that. And this guy
Mhm.
said, yeah, there are towns that are gone, but there are no trees. The soil is really clay and sand,
Yeah,
and when it gets 30 inches of rain, it becomes a swamp, and then 80-mile-an-hour winds come in. This guy said just entire forests are devastated. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah.
changed things.
Someone was telling me, and it's funny how you can remember the information but not the source sometimes. But they were telling me that basically they're going to have to redraw the topographical map for that part of North Carolina. Um, man, I was like, gosh, I got a lot of friends there.
Yeah, yeah,
In that area, just musicians. It's a real musical area of the state, and there's like Asheville for this neck of the woods. Asheville, North Carolina, was a music town. Like uh, it's kind of like a little Nashville. You've got a million places to play, and there's a million artists trying to make a living there. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I hope this isn't correct, but it feels like it. Can be correct. Music is done in that town. You know, Possibly the town's done itself. I don't know. Uh, I think they opened up 40 back up, but as I know it right now, you can't drive there. You need a helicopter or a horseback or a four-wheeler to get in.
yeah.
I was like, whoa, it's insane, you know.
It brings you to the moment of enjoying everything you've got. Boy, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
it can,
saw that one coming.
no, absolutely. We're like, oh, this is just another crappy storm.
Yeah,
You know,
nobody saw that
this
one.
is going this is going to suck. Clean your gutters out, but it caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah.
You know,
And you're well, we're kind of there. We kind of segued into it, but
yeah, it took its own path.
it did. You have a Santa Cruz guitar that
Yes.
you are selling, and some of that money is going to hurricane relief.
Yeah. So everybody at Cruz, who I love with all my heart, their family. Like I look at everybody involved with Cruz, their family. And they donated a guitar this year to raise funds for the TV series. And when all that came down, Asheville and Western North Carolina was just really prevalent on my mind. And I said, you know what? Every public television show needs funding, but at the same time, these people need it more. So we decided we're going to take 20% of the guitar sale and we're going to donate it to a 501(c)(3) charity that is physically on the ground every single day on horseback, on four wheelers, whatever it takes to get in there and providing water and food and essentials, and helping people dig out or doing whatever rescue work they can, rebuilding. So they're doing it every day. And I said that's the charity I want to give it to, the people who are on the ground doing it. Uh, so that's the plan. We put it up on Reverb, and it's a great guitar. It's a custom D model, and it's got the 45 Snowflake and the aged Adirondack high glue toner, and it's got the big sound hole like this guitar. Um, and when that sale goes through, we're also on the added end of things, to make it more of, I want to get whoever purchases the guitar to feel like they did some good too. So whoever purchases the guitar, we're going to take and put the receipt for the 20% given to the charity. We're going to give that receipt to whoever purchases the instrument. So you're getting this guitar, you're doing some good, and we're giving back and saying, hey, you can write this off on your taxes.
There you go.
So
Good things.
We'll make sure that we have the links to the Reverb sale included with the podcast, although I don't know how long it's going to last. So
I hope it goes tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great. So upcoming.
Oh yeah, so I'm always like, one thing I've learned, like, if you are going to do anything in entertainment, like, if you're a mime, if you're Bozo the Clown, if you're whatever, if you're talking about, you want to entertain people for green American dollars, or whatever dollars you have, kuna if you're in Croatia, you have to be diverse. You always have to be doing something, and don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say. So, I produce the show and I host the show and I do all the work for that. But I still, I'm still an artist. I'm still writing songs. I'm still playing. And so I locked it. I locked it down. So I am for sure going to go back into the studio in February and cut an EP. I don't know if it'll be a full album, because I don't think people even listen to full albums anymore. But I'm going to do at least an EP, and cut it out of my friend Tim Carter's studio in Nashville. And it'll be some original tunes, and we'll see where it goes. I would love to give the guest list out, but I'm superstitious about that. It's like, man, if I say X, Y, and Z are going to be there, and what happens if they get strep throat? Or what happens if they decide they don't like me and they don't want to do it?
that's not likely.
Oh Lord, it's a million and one things can go wrong.
Oh yeah.
You only need one thing to go right, but a million and one things can go wrong.
Mm. So
yeah, I'll be heading back into the studio, and I'm gonna cut the project like I am passionate about live. And these days, like, as a young studio musician, and I didn't have any giant sessions with anybody uber famous, but I was working, cutting whatever they give me, and coming up playing music live, because that's the bluegrass tradition. Though I don't play exclusively bluegrass, but that's, my bread and butter. But the live is the sound that I love. And Tony Rice told me, Tony and I cut live just sitting next to each other. He said, live's where the magic happens. So my goal for this entire thing is to go in and record in a circle, final vocal, live instruments, everything completely live. One of my big heroes, and one of the artists who absolutely, when I hear him, it brings, would bring tears to my eyes, and you'd listen to these recordings and you could hear the room. It's like you could almost hear and smell the cigar smoke coming up when but it's Ray Charles. Like, you listen to Ray Charles, dude, nighttime is the right time. And
Yeah.
you listen to that room. And
Yeah.
I'm like, God, some people are like, oh, well, that's not compressed and that's not like, yeah, man, but that's the real, it's not compressed on stage. It's not, you're going to hear somebody creak a little bit. You're going to get a little bit of, something. But what you're also going to get is what that artist really sounds like, you know? And, I'm cool with overdubbing and live punches, but what I am passionate about is what can you do live? Because I've done the studio and I still will do it. It's not something I'm never going to do again, but the isolation booth and the click track, it's a really great tool and it's awesome, but you for me the beauty is in the mistakes.
Yeah.
When you
Nothing matches the experience of the talent of the artist and the quality of the instrument. You get those two together, and that's where the magic can just suddenly pop out. And it can be rare, but when it happens, it's unbelievable.
absolutely. Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to, I think, Tim Carter, actually. And he's an amazing banjo player and a great artist in his own right. But the session that I did with Tony, we sat there. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get over sitting next to my lifelong hero and friend, and hearing that rhythm going in my ear. But we cut that sucker. I was like, no, I want to cut this live. And so it took about an hour for my hand to stop shaking. So we cut about 2.5 hours, but it was a silent session. It was Tony did things with his face or his expression. Like, if I hit a note that wasn't quite, you'd see him go, just like, didn't never said a word. And he was really the producer. He was guiding it. We'd do a cut and he's like, let's take that again. Let's go ahead and take that again. And then we just do it. On the last take, something happened. There was a little gravel in my voice on the last verse. And everything was in meter, everything was in time, it was all live. And when we got that last take, he said, that's it, that's the take, there's some magic in that take. And of course I listened over and over to that take. I'm like, oh crap, where's the magic? But it was the gravel in my voice. It wasn't perfect, and so I immediately tried to rehearse so that every time I sing that song, I sing with a little gravel in that part. But that's the beauty of live. Live ain't perfect, but perfect sometimes doesn't need to be perfect. Mistakes can be beautiful, uh, that's my philosophy on my music, my personal music. But I'm also like, there's nothing wrong with going in the studio and cutting. Maybe the artist can't come in, or I mean, for instance, like, if Eric Clapton said he'd be on the album, well, he's not coming to Nashville, so we'd have to track it out. And so, yeah, you got Eric there, which he hasn't and which he doesn't. I don't know Eric Clapton. I wish I did.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, but I was kind of giving an example. So, my thoughts on that recording process, at least for my music, and it's been a dogfight. Like, I have fought every label. I have turned label owners down because they don't want live. They want perfection, compression, and I get it. I understand that. But at the same time, that's that's the artistry of it that I'm passionate about. And you better be pretty damn good if you're going to cut live or rehearse. I won't say good. I'll say you better be really rehearsed if you're going to go live with it. So it's an extra challenge. If you go into the studio and you're like, you know what, I've got an unlimited amount of isolated takes. The stress isn't there, or that I think everything you do that has a chance to be expressive should also be a little bit scary, and when you take the fear out of it, you know, uh, where's the beauty? If hey, I'm going to make a Dunkin' Donut every single day. I'm going to make 12 chocolate donuts and 15 apple donuts every single day, and I can just unlimited. This is what it is. You know, uh, where's the expression? Where's the artistry? In that. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's a lot of where that kind of went away in the 80s and the 90s, and we're kind of moving back into that realm right now. I mean, I'm seeing, if I'm seeing live music, I'm seeing people, 4 or 5 people standing around a microphone, working a microphone,
yes,
and
yeah,
working with each other, and everybody's listening, which is really, if really, I think the key to what you're talking about is that everybody's listening. Nobody's performing. They're listening to each other and listening to the blend and listening to, okay, that's a mistake. Big deal. Drive on.
and when you're talking with people who are really rehearsed, they know it's a mistake, but everybody listening, you know,
Yeah.
they know it's a mistake. When Ray Charles went up on "Baby, Baby," woo, hit that octave that I can't hit. You can hear that, you know, push from the diaphragm. Uh, and I really feel like I hope that this is going to continue. I hope that this happens. But I feel like there's almost a renaissance in live music happening, and a renaissance. There's still some things that you know I wish weren't the norm, but like you'll talk to a label owner, or you'll talk to a DJ, and a lot of their advice is, okay, look, this song, I don't care how slow or how good it is, it's got to be no more than 3 minutes. you know, because our market study has taught us that human beings will not listen to a song longer than 3 minutes long. And there's a lot of DJs. You'll send them, your one sheet, and you'll send them an album, or you'll, put it up on DistroKid or CDX. And the DJs will go down and they'll look at the time limits on the songs. They say, won't play that, won't play that, won't play that, won't play that, won't play that. Do you have something that's 2 minutes or a little longer? They won't even listen to it.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, does Bob Dylan happen today?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was the buzz in the studio in the 80s, was 2 minutes and 59 seconds of dynamite before the news.
Yeah.
You just you want to blow them up, and then let them listen to the news, whatever they're gonna, to the
Yeah.
ED
And
commercial or whatever. I don't know.
it's part of the business. And I can say things like, oh wow, I wish I could do a 5 minute song. I wish I could do a Stairway to Heaven length song and people would listen to it. Uh but then also, as someone who also has business, I realize that, just because that, hey man, sometimes you got to play the game, you know. So maybe you do 2 songs, 3 songs on the album that fit that perfect criteria, and then you do your big 7 minute power ballad that only the true fans are going to listen to. You put one stairway on your project that you know the gritty guys are going to listen to.
Well, you can also take that under 3 minute song and do a dance mix, extend it out to 6.
Yeah, yeah, man. I, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Like doing like bring some fiddles in and do like a polka kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Do it acoustically.
There's
absolutely.
a there's a great story about um, Petty releasing the first video for MTV, and the words were, it can't be longer than 3 minutes. And when they were done with it, it was 6.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, what are we going to do with it? And he said, send it anyway. Maybe they won't notice, and it turned into a huge hit. But
Yeah, don't come around here.
But it was just like,
Yeah,
just don't tell them.
Yeah, it's you never know. Like, Bohemian Rhapsody was rejected,
Yeah,
and like today, I can't imagine popular music without Bohemian Rhapsody.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Just sometimes you just hold your nose and go and jump in.
yeah. I mean, it's you're the captain of your own ship. You
What
make
if you didn't? What if you didn't post any times on your
Oh wow, yeah.
what if you didn't post any times on the list? I
Hey,
mean,
hey, don't tempt me. That's
yeah.
that's
Well, I mean, I'd do it. Well, just
that's
don't
pretty.
post the time.
Yeah, there's two ways these days. Yeah, well, there's three ways these days that you kind of get your music out there. The obvious is major label, and major label does what the machine goes to work, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of amazing music has come out of the machine. For instance, Stairway to Heaven and Bohemian Rhapsody. So it's not always wrong. It's not you know so there's that, and then there's you go with the independent label, and the independent labels, they still, you still have to do some things to make it spin. So, you still have to go to your radio audience, and you still have to go to your digital audience, and the Spotify's and the Pandoras. You still have to do that. But with indie, you find they're a little bit more willing to take a chance. Whereas with the majors, you better be established. Like you better be Taylor Swift before you decide to do something different. And with indie, you can do that. But what I feel like today is the biggest blessing and curse with, just music that you can hear. It's more of a blessing than a curse, but there is so much more opportunity to put your own music out yourself. It's a ton of work.
It's so much different. I mean, as a professional photographer, we would print up 8 copies of our portfolios, which cost us about $10,000 to print this work, and then we'd FedEx it to the art directors, and that's over. I mean, maybe it's 1% right now, but that's over. And the opportunity, I mean, you do something and the world is your audience. I mean, you put it on YouTube and the world's your audience. You put it out there, so it's greatly expanded that audience. I want to just, if you move your hands, I've been sitting there staring at your guitar, and I realized that the reflection in that guitar is your Emmy. So yeah, it shows right up. So
that's pretty cool, though, right?
Yeah, it was really great product placement.
Oh, I planned it that way, right?
I think so. It's a really good one.
Oh, thanks. I'll pull it up and we'll do that.
That's for season 2, folks.
That's is an actual Emmy award that I legit wanted to use as a toothbrush holder. Yeah, I look at that like one. I've been around the industry and kind of in this circle long enough to have made 1,000,010 mistakes and misinterpretations and flubs, and the biggest thing has been, if I get this done, then it's just like light the match, it's going to blow up. And you let that one thing be the thing that you, all of your hopes and dreams and everything is on. Oh, I did this one thing, and now, hey, and then you can even, it creeps into you where you can be like a little arrogant with it. and be like, hey, look, I did this one thing. Did you do that one thing? Well, I guess that makes me a little bit better than you since I did that one thing that you didn't do. And then turn around and, oh, they did 10 things to your one thing. You know what I mean? So it feels good to have had, a group of our peers say that, hey, we think you have earned this. But at the same time, it's fleeting. And what it tells me is, I guess I did something right around the first time, and now I need to work twice as hard to do that again.
What you gonna do next?
Right. And yeah, exactly. What am I going to do to have earned it? Because now maybe the bar is raised. Maybe I have to, take it to a place beyond that. But all that Emmy Award really tells me is some people thought I did a good job, and I really appreciate it. But if every time somebody patted you on the back, you quit working, well, you wouldn't get very far. So
Well,
it's
it's
an attaboy.
recognition. It's recognition that you got one more rung up the ladder, but that doesn't mean you're at the top.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
It's an attaboy. It's a pat on the back.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
You should be very proud of it because you put so much time and effort and work into this series,
Yeah.
and this is a recognition that at the second year, you got this award. You've got the third year coming up, and you're planning on the fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's give everybody the number of stations and viewers
Yeah.
of
Oh
this
Lord,
thing.
stations. It's easier to tell you in the States because like the PBS affiliate station network is ginormous. So as the this is just the last time I checked. We are in 21 states from New York all the way out to California. And we are in every major market city of those 21 cities. So we're in New York City, we're in Boston, we're in Philadelphia, we're in San Francisco, we're in Los Angeles market, Louisiana, uh, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, Louisiana, and Anchorage, Alaska. I
Excellent.
Yeah,
think that somebody in Anchorage, Alaska is looking at the show is it's weird.
it's
You know,
not more than someone.
you know.
It's a few someone's.
Yeah, yeah. So and I haven't checked the numbers because I'm not looking. If I look and try to look for accolades and things like that, it's not my thing. I want to work and create, and then once in a while, when I have to try to sell something, poke my head in and see, and now we're in 42 markets. Season 2 is going national as we speak. And then season 3 will be releasing in March and it will instantly go national. So we've had enough success to where we don't have to get on this waiting list and we can just instantly, go to those markets. Um, so yeah, I mean it's kind of wild. If I think about it, it freaks me out and I just need to play my guitar.
Well, we are so grateful for your time. We will
Yeah.
make sure we get the word out on whatever. I'll of course send you this link, put it on your social, send it around.
Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't want direct texting. I'll be direct texting this to like Tim O'Brien or somebody like that.
Yeah, let's sell that guitar tonight.
Yeah. Oh, God, I hope so. That'd be awesome. That'd take a lot of stress off of me.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm a farm boy. It's like, hey, we'll work it. However, whatever the adversity is, we'll work it. And not let us down.
Is there any possibility that in season 4 you might be coming out to the West Coast and doing a few things with some artists out here?
I would dig it, man. I actually, there is somebody, I got to keep it under wraps. I can't make it public, because it hasn't happened. But yeah, I'll tell you guys on the side, somebody we're thinking about and hopefully going to get. And believe it or not, like, there's a lot of stuff like Joe Glazer brought something up and someone up that I'm like, yeah, I dig that. Yeah, let's do that. So I can tell you guys behind the scenes, but
Joe is such a force. We loved having him on. Um, uh,
he,
just
he's awesome. He is an awesome human being.
yeah, really. My first meeting him was in the bathroom at Nam, and it was like, "You're Joe Glazer."
That was me. I was like, you're Joe
Oh,
Glazer.
whoa, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done a few things, yeah.
Joe Glazer might very well be the coolest human being on earth.
Yeah, he's one of them for sure.
I don't know Bob Dylan, but Joe Glazer might very well be like the coolest guy on the planet.
Yeah, yeah. Funny bringing up Dylan. A friend of mine saw a show recently, and she titled her post "B.O.B." which was boring old Bob. And it was the first time she'd ever seen him. And I unfriended her.
Yeah.
At that moment, I unfriended her and I just said, I don't want to hear another word out of your mouth. This guy did some things that changed the freaking world, and he's still doing it almost every night. And you go do it when you're his age.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, but like it would be beyond a dream to ever just talk to Bob. But has there ever been an artist who, man, just everything he did was it was awesome and had so much thought and feeling. Has there ever been an artist like him, as smart as him with marketing, as dedicated as he was? And just I imagine Bob probably really is the coolest person in the world. I just don't know him personally, you know.
Yeah, it's been a singular vision all the way. There. Everybody goes off the rails, but boy, that's been a singular vision that keeps going to this day. And may the same thing be true for you. That at that age you are still performing and still have this unique love of getting it right.
Yeah, and maybe just a little bit less than right, but yeah, well, it's just life, baby. We're not getting out alive, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, nobody gets out alive. The only thing we have is what we do,
Yep.
and then what we do is what we left behind, and who knows,
Well, thanks for doing this today.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
And we'll get this up here in the next day or so, and we'll give people something to do on a long Thanksgiving weekend. And
Yeah,
really
Nope.
really appreciate your time, Brandon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for taking the time. It's a holiday week.
Well, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again when you and your wife have matching toothbrush holders.
Yeah, well, she's got one, but I'm not allowed to touch it. Hers is pristine and has no, finger marks on it or anything. So, mine's the one I named mine Gertrude because nobody, you know, Gertrude's, it's a good name, but it's like, you could approach Gertrude,
Yeah.
but a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Jasmine, it's like, oh, I don't,
Yeah, I'm not going to jazz.
it's like, you might want to, introduce yourself first. But Gertrude's like, hey, Gertie, So,
Hey, Gertie, let's go.
yeah,
Yeah, I got it. Brandon, you have
apologies to all the Gertrudes out there,
Yeah, and the Jasmines. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks
Yeah,
so
you
much.
too, guys.
And if we don't get a chance, really forward time from this day.
Yeah. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Hey, yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
We hope you enjoyed this installment of the Santa Cruz Coffee Break. For more music-related fun, please join the Santa Cruz Guitar Players Forum at scgcpf or santacruzguitarplayers.com. If you have any questions or possible podcast topics, please contact us. If you have a product or service that you feel would be of value to our listeners, please consider adding your support and keeping the coffee pot on. Contact us for more information. We ask that you hit the like, follow, bell, or bookmark buttons so we can keep you informed of upcoming podcast episodes. We hope you enjoyed Santa Cruz Coffee Break. Now it's time to go play your guitar.